All right. All right. It's the Neighborhood Podcast. And I am Jeremy Mulder along with Mark Abbott, who was kind enough to join me today. Mark is the property manager at RPM Connect, that is the property management company owned by Realty Connect, a real estate brokerage in the West Hills of Pittsburgh. And how many properties do you manage at RPM Connect, Mark?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We manage around 86 units. We're in the process of onboarding a few new owners. We also do just leasing for owners if they just want us to lease their properties.
So if someone buys a investment property, the reason to use a property manager is, and let me give you my reasoning first, and then you do this day to day. Like, I'm in real estate sales. I have done, Mark, I have done some rentals as well, mostly do residential or commercial sales, but I've done some leasing, done background checks, got leases written up. But if someone owns an investment property, the reason to get a property manager is, the number one reason is, that's a job. It's a job. And if you're an investor that works another job, it is a reasonable fee to have someone like Mark over at RPM Connect run it for you. Am I right?
Correct. And if you as an owner want to grow your portfolio, how can you do that if you're managing your properties at the same time? It's really hard because managing can take up your time.
And I think that's the temptation. When someone buys the first one, they want to do it themselves, right? When do you get most of your calls from people? How many rentals do they get up to when they're like, oh yeah, I need help right now?
It varies. I have a guy who has just a duplex. He's like, help me. I have someone who has 5 units and now they're ready. They feel like their portfolio is gaining enough income to have a property manager. So it really just depends on your portfolio, what your rents are, your income. I've seen it again, day one with 1 rental, 1 duplex. And of course, I've seen it, people onboarding with 30 units.
What do you think is the hardest part about property management? Like, if you're an investor and you buy a duplex, is the hardest part screening tenants? Is it finding tenants? Then you have to do the background checks and credit checks and things like that. Writing up the leases, knowing what to put in them, what not to put in them. The turnover part, where you got, what's the hardest part? Dealing with tenants, taking their calls. What's the hardest part of property management for an investor?
For an investor, I think for anyone, and I speak to a lot of property managers on a daily basis. I would say maintenance is the hardest. The best part of your job, of course, is finding the tenant and matching the tenant up with the place. The turnovers aren't necessarily that hard, but here in Pittsburgh, it's getting harder and harder to find contractors that want to do small jobs, handyman work. So I think maintenance I'll go with maintenance.
So if you're an investor and you hire RPM Connect to run your, whether it's 1 duplex or 50 properties, they get access to all your vendors. You have handyman, you have plumbers, you have electricians, you have people that can show up and fix something when it's broken. And you handle that for the people that hire you.
Absolutely, yes. And RPM Connect is a little unique in the sense that, as you stated earlier, it is owned by Realty Connect, which is a brokerage. So we, as a property management company, RPM Connect, even has more vendors because we have agents that give us vendors. So we are growing our vendor list on a daily. So it's that part is really nice. We've got access to a ton of vendors, and then we vet them. We try to have 3 to 5 in each category. So electricians, 3 to 5, plumbers, 3 to 5, and so on.
And when an investor hires you, they basically hand it over to you, right? What does an investor have to do once they have a property management company like RPM Connect? Let's say I buy a duplex and I have you run it. What do I have to do now?
Yeah, well, we're still we RPM Connect. When I say we, I'm referring to RPM Connect. We like to keep it small. We like to keep good rapport with our owners, so we really can kind of customize it to the owners. Some owners, we have monthly meetings, so every month an owner can attend a monthly meeting one-on-one with their property manager, or they'll get a kind of an overview agenda of what happened for the month. But yeah, I keep my owners in the knowing as much as they want to know. Some, they don't want monthly meetings. They don't want to know anything. Maybe once a quarter you hear from them because maybe, $100 more came out of their money disbursement. And then we do have owners that have more property, so we tend to have more maintenance. So maybe we're in contact with them a little more. But again, it's really on the preference of the owner. We're set up where you can be hands off. You get your monthly owner statement, you get your monthly owners meeting, and really that's all you have to do.
So if under the premise that I buy a duplex and I bring it to RPM Connect for you to run it, you get the tenants, you put the tenants in there, you're taking the calls if something breaks. Let's just say I'm collecting $3,000 a month, or you're collecting $3,000 a month rent, but this month the dishwasher broke and you had to replace the dishwasher. You would just, instead of getting $3,000, it would be $3,000 minus the cost of the dishwasher replacement.
Right, correct. And we would attach the bill and had most likely talk to the owner, unless the owner's like, hey, fix it, we don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would see all of that in the owner statement.
But most owners are going to want to be like, okay, how much does that cost? Where are you getting it and stuff like that? So you do answer those questions if they want them answered.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I've been in real estate for almost 10 years now, working in real estate. And one thing I remember before, when I was just a consumer, owned a house, I rented apartments before I owned a house, was the saying was always, when interest rates are high, more people rent. And when interest rates are really low, and I remember people saying this to me when I was renting. They're like, dude, interest rates are like 3%. Why are you renting? You could buy for cheaper.
Right.
So when rates go down, more people buy. And we could try to say whatever we want, but you sent me a stat that pretty much backs it up. I mean, we're hovering in the mid sixes on interest rates right now. And you sent this to me. It is that for the second quarter of 2026, rentals are up 187,000. Like, it's up. And then this second stat here to the right, the amount of new rentals on the market, like, are there new places for all these new renters? No, in fact, available rental units are down 340,200. And I guess that maybe goes hand in hand. If you got more renters, you got less space available. But it's definitely a rental boom that we're in right now.
Absolutely. The apartment demand is up again this year. Here in Pittsburgh, I think the supply is pretty steady. We have a steady supply of rentals. But I know nearby markets, Buffalo, Cincy, Cleveland, and Morgan, I have property managers that I stay in touch with in those areas. And the supply is starting to pull back a bit. So
you mean Morgantown?
In areas like Buffalo, Cincy, Cleveland, Morgantown, yes.
Okay. So the three Pittsburgh areas that we're going to talk about rentals today are Robinson Township. That's the Allegheny County Robinson Township. It's near the airport, Pittsburgh International Airport, a shopping hub, West Hills of Pittsburgh. Hopewell Township, which is past the airport out into Beaver County. So a little more rural, but I would say from Hopewell, well, you're 30 minutes to downtown, maybe 30 to 40 at the most. And then the third neighborhood is in the city of Pittsburgh, arguably one of the hottest, most trendy neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, Lawrenceville. So, you take a guess on which one's going to have the highest rental prices.
Right.
But we'll look easy. I literally went on today and pulled some of these figures to see where things are. So first I have here we'll do Robinson Township first. The Ridge at Robinson. That is a newer facility. I think it's less than 10 years old.
Yes.
And this was 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartments in Robinson Township, Mark. If you look there, 750 square feet, starting at $1,510 a month. Is that up? That's up right now, right? I mean,
Absolutely, yeah. There's a bunch of places in Robinson, new construction specifically. And to your point, this is still within 10 years ish.
and it has amenities. I had beautiful pictures. It has a pool and,
Absolutely, a
party
ton.
areas.
You've got Knox Apartments, Artisan at Robinson, Chestnut Ridge, Pennsbury. So Mackenzie Place, Ventana Hills. There's so many different rental buildings and apartment complexes, but certainly some newer ones, and they're all rising for sure.
This is the 2 bedrooms at the Ridge at Robinson. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet, starting at $1,831. I had heard what a 2-bedroom goes for around the Pittsburgh area, and that's quite a bit above what I had heard. But I mean, they're beautiful. The apartments are nice, no doubt, and it's supply and demand. They're only charging that because they're getting it.
Absolutely.
And, it's conveniently located. I believe these apartments are right behind the Giant Eagle Market District off the Parkway, so it's a convenient location. How many rentals does RPM Connect have in Robinson right now?
We have a handful here.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
they range from 1,300 to 1,850 a month.
Okay. So comparable then. But that's for 2 bedrooms. All those are 2 bedrooms?
1,850 is a 3-bedroom, and then 2 bedrooms. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see which one I get here next. What do I got there? Oh, that's Lawrenceville. We'll do Lawrenceville last. Let me save that for a minute. Okay. The Kane Apartments. These are Hopewell Township. And if you look at it, it's a nice kitchen. So these are nice apartments. You can see the top pictures, a gym there. Let's see if I can find the prices without giving away. Yep. Hopewell's a little more affordable. It's out in Beaver County. 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 845 square feet, starting at $1,305. I mean, look, I was in college in the 90s, so I'm just going to tell you that's a lot for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. But if you're looking around town, that's a little more competitive.
Yeah, that's great prices. I think RPM Connect, we may want to look at raising our 1-bedrooms in Hopewell. We're a little lower than that.
So you got, okay, everybody, if you're looking and you want to get a better deal, go to rpmconnect.org.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, now let's go to, now third, Lawrenceville. This is in
So
the city
many
of
new
Pittsburgh.
construction. I mean, they've got Arsenal 201. They've got the Foundry on 41st, Albion and Lawrenceville. I mean, they've just got a ton of new construction there.
And I will tell you, I did notice there was a lot for rent in Lawrenceville right now. Prices
Saturated market.
Yeah. So this is studio to 2 bedrooms. So there's studio apartments. That means just 1 big room and a bathroom. And then there's 1 bedroom, and then there's 2 bedroom. And I won't even have to go. I can see at the bottom of this graphic here, studios start at $1,425. 1-bedroom apartments start at $2,117. And then if you need a 2-bedroom, let's just say you got a roommate or maybe a kid, someone that needs another room, 2 bedrooms starting at $3,200 a month. But that's for that Lawrenceville lifestyle, Mark. You can walk your dog down Butler and sip on your latte.
Yes, my cousin, he and his roommate, they pay $3,000 a month. They move in September 1st.
Okay, so then that's competitive. Then it's a going rate around
2-bedroom, yes, 1 bath, $3,000.
From an investor's point of view, if someone came to town, or there maybe someone's watching this from another part of the country, and they're like, I want to invest in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
These 3 areas: Robinson, West Hills, Hopewell further out west into Beaver County, Lawrenceville in the city. Where do you think would be the best investment right now?
Well, I would rate them best appreciation, Lawrenceville, best cash flow, Hopewell, best balance of appreciation and stability in tenants, Robinson Township.
Okay. And I think I know what you mean on all. I mean, Lawrenceville, you buy it and the building just becomes worth more money over time because it's in the city. And then Hopewell, you're going to get the property for less, which means you're going to get more cash flow off your rental. And then Robinson's just a lot more jobs and things going on there. So, steadier tenants. And plus the proximity to downtown. It's somewhere people can live out in the suburbs, but still work in the city.
Absolutely. You nailed it.
What about for people that are looking to rent right now? So we just told you, this is all the things we've been talking about here is good news for investors right now. But what about the renters? I'll say one thing that I heard you talking about in the office recently that made me feel a little better for renters out in this crazy world is that if their credit's not great, but they pay their rent, if they have a really good rental history, a lot of times an investor will take them because,
Absolutely.
yeah, what would you say for renters? There's someone out there looking to rent. What's the most important criteria? Is it credit score? Is it salary? I think we just answered one of the questions, your rental payment history. What do you tell people to really key in on to compete for the best rentals out there?
Yes, I think it's obviously, unfortunately, going to be salary as one of them. But yeah, I also think if you're not looking at salary, it's that rental history. Are they making that payment and taking that into consideration?
Okay. And for more details, if you want to do a little shopping around, go to rpmconnect.org. You said you have over 80 rentals in the Pittsburgh area there right now.
We'll have one coming soon in Lawrenceville.
All right. All right. Hottest market out there.
Yes.
And hearing that it's a hot market means this probably isn't something you can do a whole lot of now. But if you see that rental price, when you buy a house, you can make an offer. Can you do that with rentals? Can you be like, hey, I see it was $3,200. I can only afford $2,900. Can you do that?
You negotiate? Yes. Yeah. I will say right now, owners are holding steady at their rent, but you certainly can. We are offering it at $1,000 a month plus utilities, or $1,500 a month plus utilities. But certainly you can negotiate. And I would tell any prospect before leaving an appointment, try to negotiate. I mean, that is a good thing. I mean, it's give and take, right? It's business.
What about length of lease? It's been a long time since I rented. I've been married and owning a home for a long time. But back when I was renting, sometimes they'd say, hey, if you rent for 24 months, we'll lower the rent. Is that still a thing in this market?
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, longer leases, it is better for not just the tenant, because it guarantees the tenant won't have an increase in 12 months, or if it's a short-term lease, 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is. But also it guarantees the owner steady income for 24 months, 36 months, however long that lease is. So they can do a little more for foreshadowing for any kind of future.
We're talking about how interest rates are high now, and it's becoming a really good market for investors with their rentals. When the market was the other way around and rates were real low, and you were still renting though, right? It was still,
Yeah, Pittsburgh has been a steady market, and here's why. We obviously have had such change from steel to now technology, to hospital to now technology. So there's always been tenants and prospects because people are just moving in. It's transient. So I feel like we've been pretty steady here over the last 5 years.
All right. That's Mark Abbott, the property manager at RPM Connect, Realty Connect. This is the Neighborhood Podcast. Mark, thank you for joining us, and I look forward to, in the future, getting more rental market updates from you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you on the next episode.